got your perfect Christmas gift. Please welcome Miley Cyrus.
The year is 2008. Disney's typical partner for their video game adaptations at the time, THQ, gave their pitch for a Toy Story 3 video game in February of that year. Perhaps in an effort to save money and maintain stronger creative control by keeping development in-house, THQ's pitch was soundly rejected in favor of Disney's in-house studio Avalanche Software, the first project in a long-term plan to ramp up in-house development, an effort that would later yield the Epic Mickey and Disney Infinity series. Now perhaps Disney's gambit paid off, because unlike other video game adaptations of Pixar and Disney games, Toy Story 3 isn't just a straight movie adaptation. There's a story mode that follows the events of the story, and there's a toy box mode that is basically like an open world sandbox thing that would later be seen in Disney Infinity. So there's a lot of diversity to the gameplay, something that they probably wouldn't have got from the THQ game. The game starts with a train full of townspeople heading straight ahead, and Woody hops on Bullseye to go save them.
I like the wind. Evil Dr. Porkchop.
That's Mr. Evil Dr. Porkchop to you.
And with that, the mission starts with some kind of reverse chase. And I must say, they did a good job with Bullseye's controls here. I guess you could say vehicle controls. They did a good job with the vehicle controls here. I think a lot of times, especially during games of this era, 2010, a lot of vehicle controls, very tanky, very slippery, just not very precise, but these controls feel very tight. I like them. After that part, you hop on the train and start this on-foot section. One thing I really like about this game is the variety of collectibles that you can collect. The red capsules have these coins in them that can be spent at Al's Toy Barn. We'll get to that later. Next are these regular cards that, when you complete their collection, they unlock a toy that you can buy in Al's Toy Barn to use in the toy box mode. Here's a fun game. Take a shot every time I say the word toy. Technically, in the first level, they're the main objective, but they also count as collectibles too. These townspeople that you can find at least one of in each mission, they go directly into your Woody's Roundup town, so they're basically townspeople that populate your town, which I thought was interesting. It's a proactive kind of collectible, Nothing gets on my nerves more than a collectible that's just useless. Like, oh great, it's sitting there, it's just art, There's also special cards, which, unlike the normal cards, they don't unlock stuff for toy box mode. Instead, they unlock stuff like concept art and interviews with the developers. So basically, after you rescue all the townspeople, you have to reach the front of the train and throw a ball at Ham's spaceship thingy. So basically, the framing of the story is that it's being retold by Andy's old toys to Bonnie's toys.
Hey, what's next? Should we go to Andy's house?
Watch it, Rex. Just knocked Al's toy barn into the pond.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Hollowhead. I'm gonna have to reset the whole town.
After that, you're introduced to the toy box mode, which is also interchangeably called Woody's Roundup. It's basically like the name of the town. So basically, you're the sheriff, and you do side missions for characters. You can earn gold coins. You can earn customization options for your townspeople and for the buildings in your town. It's actually really fascinating. I actually really enjoy this mode, and in fact, most of your playtime of this game is probably going to be in this mode as opposed to the story mode. But story-wise, since it's so open-ended, it's kind of hard to go over toy box mode, so we'll revisit this after the story mode, but keep that in mind. There is a canonical end for toy box. Mission 2 starts out in Andy's room, where you have to reach up high on the shelf to grab the phone. It's here that you're introduced to each character's different special abilities. Buzz can throw people, Jessie can stand on these dart thingies, and Woody uses his lasso to basically swing. After that section, you make it down to the basement, where it's pretty much the same thing. Get to the certain points with each different character, but this time you're throwing army men. It's a little sad that this is probably the closest we're going to get to a new Army Man game, but I digress. So once you get all 4 army men to the phone, the mission ends. It then cuts to Rex, who's playing the Buzz Lightyear video game, and this segues into the next mission.
The Buzz Lightyear game!
We haven't played this in years.
Yeah, I made it to the Gamma Quadrant.
I don't know why, but Rex playing the video game just really activates the ASMR part of my brain. I can't really put my finger on it. It just feels really rich and satisfying to see him press the buttons. You know what I mean? So like I said, this next mission takes place within the Buzz Lightyear video game. First there's this like flying section, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I felt that the controls were a little bit floaty compared to the Mission 1 driving section. Eventually you land, and I just want to say I like the splintering effect here, like when the meteors hit the ground. I mean, that splintering effect, that's really good for 2010. Like for the PS3, that's pretty nice. They did a good job with that. The next part is this platforming part where you have to use your jetpack to help hover over these rocks. One thing I really don't like about the jetpack controls is that the jetpack doesn't activate until after the apex of your jump. So after you jump and then you start descending is when the jetpack kicks in, and it really throws off my timing, and I'm not really a fan of that. Also, this one card is really getting on my nerves. I tried to go after this card for like 5 straight minutes. No matter how I went towards it, I just did not have enough space. I ground pounded, I did everything, and I still couldn't get the card. I don't know how to get that card. After some more platforming on the ice, you finally reach Zurg's base. Not too hard. It's your standard typical, you know, Sly Cooper type platforming kind of stuff. You know, the timing and all that. I like this top-down perspective part. I thought that was kind of neat. So after some more platforming, you end up at the Zurg boss battle, which isn't too difficult. I mean, you just aim your laser at him and just don't die. Oh yeah, before we go to the next mission, I just wanted to explain the toy barn a bit. I guess it's pretty self-explanatory, but the coins you get, you can spend on these mystery eggs and get figures, and you know, there you can also see your collection of cards and whatnot. So it's like a collectibles hub. Think of it like that. The next mission, which takes place at the Sunnyside Daycare, is kind of interesting because it's not your standard level. It's kind of like a collection of mini games. And it's also where all the Zurg pieces are. See, the PS3 version has this exclusive thing where you get to play as Zurg in the toy box mode if you collect all 5 Zurg pieces that are in this level specifically. But back to the minigame part. This toy robot gives this racing minigame. Not too bad, not too challenging. And another racing challenge, this time with Bullseye, which I thought was a little peculiar. I mean, you already have a racing challenge, so why is there another? But it's whatever. And for the third challenge, you have to shoot these Luxo Junior balls at the toy aliens coming at you, and you know, you can't let them cross the line. And I'll be honest, the difficulty kind of crept up on me here. I had to replay it actually just to get the target score. You really have to be on your toes for this, especially since you can't change the sensitivity of the cursor. You kind of have to like predict where they're coming, who's gonna hop over the bins. The next mission takes place in Bonnie's bedroom as some kind of fantastical story kind of thing. As you can see, you know, it kind of bounces around the story, you know, a little bit here and then a little bit there. It covers the general beats of Toy Story 3, but not every little thing. Also, a room full of black coffee is nowhere near my nightmare. Get my ass in that room, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of that entire room. So after you get through the bedroom, you make your way to the bedroom window, and it's this kind of like space, rocket ship theme outside, and basically you have to get the 3 batteries. This level kind of reminds me of the Buzz Lightyear kind of levels, static. I don't know if it's reused assets or what, but it just popped in my head. Basically, you have to use the rails to traverse around the map, and one thing I really noticed is that Avalanche Studios did a phenomenal job at making the controls very tight. I know a lot of developers or, you know, games from the times, they had not really the tightest of controls, but Avalanche Studios did a really top-notch job at the controls, because I feel like levels like this would be terrible if the controls weren't right, or they were too floaty, or they weren't timed right. So after you collect all 3 batteries, you have to do this rail sequence where you have to jump and dodge and duck over the obstacles, and then you have to swap between these 3 rails. And I did get hurt a couple times, I won't lie. I got hurt a few times. After that, it's more of the battery stuff, but like in this little room kind of thing. So after you're done with that, the next level is this jailbreak, prison break type level where you have to go around and rescue the toys. It's a stealth level, and I had low expectations. I'll be honest, I didn't know if they would pull this off or not, but this is actually a pretty fun level. I would probably go as far as saying this is one of my favorite levels, because it's just fun to sneak around and get around everything.
You're in violation of Galactic Order 2754.
Although sometimes the ledge grabs don't register properly if you're not dead center, and that can be a little frustrating. Now this next level with the trash compactor, I won't lie, it kind of got to me a little bit. It's a little tricky. Here, I'll explain. So this first part is you have to save the aliens, right? Just keep throwing them into the bin. Simple as that. But for the next part, you have to swap between Buzz, Woody, and Jesse and do the various tasks before the trash pile with the toys in there get to the trash incinerator, I guess that's a burner. But either way, it's kind of tricky to manage all three at once, especially if you don't use the hints, because there's a hint system. I didn't use the hints at all for this game, except for this part. This part I had to do a few of the hints because it stumped me, not gonna lie, because it's not even difficult, it's just this kind of gameplay is nowhere else in the game. So when it's just thrown at you, it's like, oh, okay, what do I do here, you know? And this end part took me a little bit to figure out as well. You have to swing on the lever as Woody first to open up the door, and then as Jesse, you have to do the valve standing thingy to open up the door's door. Gate? I guess, yeah, the door's gate. And then as Buzz, you have to throw the trash cube in. So that's how you end the mission.
Any questions?
Yeah. What about Bonnie's story of the haunted bakery?
Yeah, you left out one of the best parts.
You didn't tell us about the haunted bakery? Haunted bakery?
I want to hear.
Me too.
Like the last cutscene suggests, this last mission is kind of like a boss battle mission. It's not too hard. You just kind of have to stay on your feet, and it can be a little challenging if you want to get the collectibles because you have to wait for some of the buildings to be smashed, and you can kind of get hurt in the process. After you beat the Witch Dolly boss, you're kind of done with story mode. It's only 8 missions. It's not the longest. Alright, so now that we're done with story mode, we can move on to Toy Box mode / Woody's Roundup. It's kind of hard to cover something as open world as Toy Box mode, so here's the general beats. Basically, the main gameplay loop is that you do missions to earn coins, and you can customize your buildings and townspeople that you buy the buildings with the coins. And some of these missions can be from pictograph missions with like a camera to, just standard fetch quests or do this or do that. You can also earn gold stars by completing challenges around the toy box. I guess this unlocks stuff in the toy barn. I'm not entirely sure what the gold stars do, but they do something. It's kind of hard to word this, so bear with me here, but there's like 4 or 5 different areas that have their own central, let's say, level, their own central level in like a building. So for example, there's like a haunted mansion, and you go in it and it's like a haunted mansion, almost like a story level. And there's Zurg's base, and you go through his like intergalactic kind of base area, and they're like their own story levels with their own collectibles and stuff, and basically you go through all of those and you unlock stuff in the toy barn. The more stuff you unlock in the toy barn, the more stuff you buy, the more free roam areas, toy box areas you unlock, like this suburb, almost like a suburbs part in the back with like a dam. And I figured I'd mention it since this kind of threw me for a loop too. The whole PlayStation 3 exclusive content where you get to play as Zurg, he's not like one of the 3 selectable characters when you start up Toy Box. He's actually, you have to go to this, you have to buy the station first, and then you go to the Zurg station and then swap your character to be Zurg. And like I said in the beginning, there is a canonical end to this mode, so basically you have to complete all of the main Mayor Ham missions until there's this one where Mayor Ham gets kidnapped, and so you have to rescue him.
Saving my life, I will erect a statue in town so that future generations of toys will remember the courage and can-do spirit that was witnessed here today.
After the statue is built, you're tasked by Ham to find a super secret treasure trove. But don't worry, there's no tricks or twist plot elements here. Just a normal super secret treasure trove.
Behold, you fools! Your beloved mayor is none other than I, the evil Dr. Porkchop!
Yep, the big twist is that Mayor Ham is actually super evil Dr. Porkchop. This final boss battle isn't too difficult though. All you need to do is just throw the explosive barrels into the hole that drops enemies out. Once that silent and awkward jostling is done, you get back all of the treasure that Dr. Porkchop was trying to steal. So it is nice that you get a big fat coin bonus for basically completing the storyline of Toy Box. And that's basically it for Toy Story 3. For a movie tie-in game, there's a lot of meat on the bones. I mean, story mode alone is maybe 6-7 hours. Toy Box mode is a good 8 hours. You can put in a good 8-9 hours depending on if you take your time 100% or not. There's a lot of meat on the bones for a movie game. And one thing I really like about Toy Story 3, the video game, is that it doesn't spoil the movie at all. I mean, it hits all of the general beats of the movie without spoiling anything. I mean, that's really tough to do, to portray stuff that happened in the third act without spoiling the movie. You know, I mean, they did a great job at really laying out the story in this game. I think Disney's quest for a more quality experience compared to a THQ pump and dump like a lot of Disney games from the late 2000s paid off. Avalanche Studios did a phenomenal job, and the first 2 Toy Story games are pretty good, especially for movie tie-ins. So that was no easy job to follow, and they did a great job following up with the predecessors.
Regis, do you realize this is your 18th year hosting this parade?
No kidding, is that true?
Yes, and all the way across the country in California.